Hello and welcome to another podcast. We are actually at a table this time and we have a guest. And it's on YouTube.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? I'm your host, Jack. I'm with Ben today.
Hello, that's me.
He was the special
The
guest.
special guest announced at the end of last week's episode, which I'm sure everyone has watched.
And listened to. It's on Spotify. Go
Yep.
check it out. I'll put his Instagram in the description below.
Yes.
It's fresh.
Oh, yes.
So today we're going to talk about the Euros a little bit. We're going to talk about top four, and relegation, and make a few predictions as well in line with what will now be a tradition.
Yeah.
Predictions. So, like, subscribe, enjoy the video, enjoy the podcast if you're listening, and yeah, let's get on with the agenda for today.
Disclaimer. I recognise it's brighter now than it was before, but it's just the time we were recording at. So keyboard warriors, stay away. I recognise it's brighter, but this clip does get darker, so bear with.
Right, so Ben,
Hmm.
England,
Yep.
Euros 2020/2021.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna pick a team? If you could pick your starting 11 of the
Pick a
England
team.
players
Right.
in form at the moment, who would you pick?
So starting goal,
Yep, obviously.
I would actually. This is a lot of people would go against this, but I'd actually start John Pickford.
Short arms.
Yeah, from what? Yeah, I think he will start because Gareth Southgate he likes Pickford for some reason. Even when he was bad, he was still starting. But right now, I think he's the most important keeper. Even though Pope and Henderson are very good, don't get me wrong. I just think Pickford is playing very well for Everton at the minute. So you'd have to start him in my opinion.
How many defenders are you starting?
4.
For the back.
Yeah, I think the centre back. Maybe not right now, but it's one of the more limited areas in England's team. But we start 3 of them at the minute. I don't quite understand it, but I'd go 4 at the back. Right back, Trent.
Interesting.
Wan-Bissaka apparently is turning Irish. If he's not getting picked more, and I don't think he will, so I think we'll lose him anyway. Centre backs, John Stones. And I think it depends what team you're playing against. But Maguire, or Joe Gomez, I'm not too sure about that one. But yeah, Maguire or Joe Gomez. Walker could even play a centre back if you wanted.
It's the oldest started Walker at right back.
I'd start Trent at right back.
What about left back?
Left back, Chilwell. No, Shaw. It has to be Shaw.
Yeah,
At the form. Yeah, it would have to be Shaw.
What midfield combination are you going for?
I'm trying to think of all the players available. Another player who Reece James. Now he's very good. He's not quite Trent's level. That's the problem with England having too many right backs. But Reece James is also very. He could also play left back. Apparently, he's never played there, but apparently he can play left back according to some sources.
Some sources.
Yeah. It's been rumored that he can play left if he has to. Midfield. Jordan Henderson has to be in there for me. If he's back in time, he'll not be back in time for the Euros.
For all those wondering what that noise was.
Yeah, and then I'd have to go with. I don't know how. It was a 4-3-3, by the way. I haven't quite said that. Mount.
Yes, I would 100% go Mount.
Yeah, Mount has to be in there.
James Maddison.
It's either Maddison or Grealish.
See, I would personally say Maddison.
I would also agree with you because I think with Grealish in the middle, you have too many leaders. You have too many people who like to hold the ball and be the centre of the team,
And too many attacking midfielders.
and too many attacking. But you have with Madison's also very attacking.
Yeah, but he's a bit more all-rounded.
Yeah,
Grealish has
a bit
spent a
more
lot
of
of time.
centre mid.
Yeah,
Grealish is more left winger. Or if you're Ruben Wallace, centre forward. But yeah, I feel like Grealish would want to control the ball too much, and Henderson would also want to do it, and it would clash. And then you got Maguire also wanting to lead. All these players are used to leading their squads. We're used to wearing the armband, and I think having too many players with the same mentality would cause a clash in personalities. And then I'd go Sterling on the left, Kane up top. Even though I think Dominic is no. Yeah, Kane would have to start, and then I haven't seen a lot of Sancho because I only watch Premier League football. But I've heard he's decent, so I mean I'd stick him at right wing and see what he does.
So, with your front three there, you're excluding Foden, Calvert-Lewin, like you said.
Yeah, Greenwood, Saka,
Yeah,
Smith Rowe,
Callum Wilson, who scored quite a few goals as well this season.
Wilson's not making it this season. I'm sorry.
For the interest of balance.
Yeah, he's not even. Yeah, he's not close. In my
There's
opinion.
even a case for Ivan Toney in the Championship.
No,
who scored 25
he
goals.
can stay away. There's a lot of quality in England, but I think they'll struggle to gel as a team in the Euros.
Do you think that's always been England's problem?
Um,
Because you had the golden generation, as they were so
had
called.
some amazing players,
Yeah,
and they didn't
2006,
win anything.
2010,
And they just
He flopped every time.
yeah. I also don't rate Southgate as a manager.
I would actually agree with you.
I don't think he's suitable to be leading the England squad. I
Mm.
feel like 2018 World Cup with his waistcoat, haha, great times. And then
I think England got lucky in that World Cup.
oh yeah, 100% with the draws that they got very subpar teams. And then as soon as we come against Croatia, not a world class team, they're a decent team. As soon as we come against them, we don't have any tactics. We don't have anything. I mean, Ken got Golden Boot winner
penalties.
from penalties. The ball bounced into him a few times. I don't think Southgate's the right man to lead England.
Who would you pick if you could pick any manager, preferably English, in in football? I mean, the only England manager with a 100% win record is Sam Allardyce.
Steven Gerrard.
Steven.
He's done really well at Rangers.
I'm actually over the moon to see Rangers do so
yeah.
well.
I'd pick him. I feel like he'd have the hunger and the passion as well to lead that team.
Yeah, and the experience of
And
having been in that generation and not won anything. So it's like, get your act together kind of thing.
But even if, for me, England is set well for the future, but they always have been. They've always had this next generation of players coming through the lines or coming through the ranks. And once they have done, they haven't really performed to the potential that people are hoping for.
Yeah.
Like Pep Guardiola saying this, that Foden's a £500 million untouchable player that he would never sell for any amount of money. What is he? Is he going to the amount of better than De Bruyne? Can you see him?
Well, that's a very interesting point of view. Personally, I think the vast majority of the team that you've chosen and ranted about has been good. Do you think England should what's known as blood young players? So you look at Jude Bellingham, who at the start of the season was doing really well in Germany. We haven't heard a lot from him since the start of the season, but he'll inevitably become better. I hope. He's still only young. He's younger than us. Do you think England should blood young players?
No. Wait. Yeah.
Give them game time in the English in the first team. Give them experience.
There's a lot of young players there. There's a lot. And at what point? What cost are we? Maybe Fred Neves, yeah, sure, why not? But I don't see the need to take the risk. We have such a so much depth in the squad that I don't think you need to be calling up these young players.
You don't have a lot of depth in the right places.
What's the position that you don't?
Centre half you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, but they're still good picks.
There's not an awful lot of
You've still
strong
got-
defensive midfielders.
I don't. If Eric Dyer plays, I'm
Skinhead.
concerned. I'm concerned because his form for Tottenham has not been good. But I feel like Southgate's too scared to change anything.
I mean, there's that phrase of "don't fix what isn't broken."
But it's broken. We didn't win anything. We beat Sweden, Colombia, and then as soon as we come up with a team with any sort of tactics, we're out.
Nothing.
I mean, we had no chance against France, but that's not the point.
Can't go up against a world-class team.
No, it's. I don't think it's the right manager. But to answer your question, no, because I don't think we really need to do that.
No, I completely agree.
I feel like they're getting experience from their own teams. I don't think a country is going to make that much of a difference at that age to your experience.
We're going to talk about the Premier League top four
Mm-hmm.
and the fight for relegation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ben, I understand you've had a bit of thought about this.
I have. Yeah.
Do you have any predictions?
So do you want to start with the top four?
Yeah.
Finishing top four. So I feel it'll be Man City winning the league. Obviously, I predicted that from the start of the season. They just have too much depth in their team. In every position, it's ridiculous. Yeah, they're winning easy. Haven't lost a game in about 20 odd games. Ridiculous. Probably the best squad in the world right now. I know Pep came out and said that, and that's still Bayern Munich, but in my opinion, City is the best team in the world right now.
Do you think Man City having such a, I want to say, monopoly on the league, does it make the league any better than Liga and the Bundesliga in terms of
You're saying is it turning into a farmers' league?
Yeah.
Because slightly. Out of every team, being an Everton fan, out of every team in the league, I dislike Man City the most because they're a team. Every other,
they've got everything right, so I hate them.
No, they're a team. Everyone else is a club. Everyone
Yeah.
else has a fan base. Everyone has some sort of passion behind them. Man City, I don't think I've ever met. I think I met one Man City fan in New York, and they work there. They don't have like a TV, Arsenal fan TV, and you have all these other clubs with, you've got Mark Goldbridge from Man United. What do you have? What does City have? They don't. They're just a team. They're just money.
I mean, yeah. If you look at, I think the best way to look at it is famous supporters.
Yeah.
A lot of famous people support Man United. Most famously, Usain Bolt.
Mm.
Leicester, Gary Lineker,
Yeah.
big Leicester fan.
Yeah.
West Ham, Katy Perry and Russell Brand.
Where are you going with this?
I'm just saying that Man City don't have a huge following. I mean, Gallagher brothers, I think, the most famous, but
Gallagher are quite famous.
globally, they're not
No, I guess
that
not.
well known.
And I feel like a lot of people around the world are Manchester United fans. I feel like that was the main Manchester team, and
Glory Hunters. Oh, you can't call them Glory Hunters.
you can't call them that anymore. But that was the main. I kind of felt that's who everyone supported. Like growing up, everyone was a United fan. Even though they don't actually know where Manchester is, but no matter where in the world, they're a United fan. And now, I just don't like Man City. I don't like watching them play. I don't like watching them win. I prefer Liverpool to win the league than Man City.
I think if you look at the difference in play between Liverpool and Liverpool champions last year and City now, City is almost, their games are too controlled in the sense that they dominate literally everything.
Every single aspect. They have the most backward passes out of any club. That was the stat that came out by like a long way. Most backward passes.
Yeah.
And just that control that they have is why they're top. That's why they haven't lost. Liverpool, they had a lot when they came champions. They had a lot of games with last-minute goals, scruffy, because they ran at you, and it was entertaining to watch.
Definitely.
But a lot more than Man City. I don't like watching them play at all. But Liverpool, they were a very interesting team last season to watch. They still are, but they're just struggling with injury problems.
All right, before we burst one of your blood vessels talking about Man City, who do you think is going to finish second in the league?
I see Man United finishing second purely because Leicester have too many injuries to compete for that spot.
Yeah, I'm not argue that point. Third,
Leicester. I feel like they can hold on to it, but I don't think they can push for second. I feel like Man United will pull away.
so you're saying Leicester City are going to look forward to yet another season in Champions League football?
I don't say look forward to. I feel like they'll try and compete in it as best as they can and get knocked out at the group stage.
I don't think they'll get knocked out group stages. I think they've got.
Depends on what group they get.
I mean, they've got a. They've got another summer
I
transfer
feel that
window
they'll look
between.
forward to the Europa League once they're knocked out of the Champions League.
Okay. Fourth. This is the one that I think could vary the most because you've got West Ham, Chelsea, and even Liverpool stretching down to Everton probably could even finish fourth if they pull their finger out a
Tottenham
little
are on
bit.
the same point, so.
Mm.
And Villa only with a game in hand. I mean,
Yeah,
it'll be
to
a
be
very
fair,
tight finish.
The best of the rest, I'm going to call that.
Okay, yeah. I would see Chelsea finishing fourth.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think they'll score enough goals to go fourth. Honest. I think they could get leapfrogged by Villa. I think they could get leapfrogged by Everton. Maybe even Liverpool if their injuries come back towards the end of the season.
Van Dijk's back in training, so that's big for them.
Exactly. All right. So you've predicted the top four of Man City, Man United, Leicester, and Chelsea. On the topic of the top four/top six, do you think Arsenal and Tottenham have lost their status as a top six club?
I feel that's harsh to say. The top six. So what would be the two teams replacing them? If you're saying top six, if you took them out, who else would come to mind?
Over the past 2 seasons, 18 months, time-ish, Arsenal haven't finished in the top six.
No.
Tottenham, barely. But the one team that has consistently been in the top six,
Leicester. Yeah.
Now, they may not be as financially enormous, but performances-wise, I think they've definitely staked a better claim than Spurs or Arsenal have.
Yeah.
For a top six status, they've even won more league titles than the two of them put together in the past 15 years. So,
but I feel like it's more. The reason why they're called top six is the history of the league, and them being big clubs in the Premier League.
I mean, if you're going to go on that basis, Leeds should be in there as well.
Yeah, but I mean, they're the traditional top six. I feel like it'd be harsh to take one out of it, but
So you're saying we should add to the status of a top six and make it a top seven or a?
No, I don't really know. I always found it a bit of a weird.
Bloody geese.
Yeah. I just found it a bit of a weird comparison, the top six, because they're not the top six. If you're saying goals against the top six, you're talking about West Ham, and they're not a top six team. I've always found it a bit of a weird saying.
I mean, I think people saying that there's a Premier League Big Six or Top Six, whatever you want to call it, is an attempt to escape the fact that one team is becoming dominant.
Yeah.
They want to make it seem a bit more competitive than it actually is.
Because even like next season, who's giving City a run for their money? I mean, a full-strength Liverpool team, but again, they're just not as consistent enough.
I mean, I would love to see a team from lower down division.
I can't see it happening,
but it's not going to work, is it?
No.
If there's one,
like if you took out Man City from this league, best league in football.
Oh yeah. If you took out Man City, you'd be looking at 11 points separating what would be first to eighth.
Yeah, that's mental.
With some teams having games in hand.
Yeah.
I mean, the closer the better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's personally why I like the Championship, because it's ridiculously close a lot of the time. But, Man City are 12 points clear.
Yeah, you have to give props to City and what they're doing. Yeah. But I can still not like them.
I'd like to point out, I'm not saying Man City are a bad team.
They're just a small oil money club.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to be talking about who is going down. In my opinion, I can pretty much nigh on guarantee Sheffield United are going to finish bottom of the league.
Mm.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, now for the next two positions, 18th and 19th, it's a little bit tighter. I think West Brom are also a little bit too far gone.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves just 18th.
There's still a lot of games of the season left.
There's
But-
12 games left for those teams, but they do have to play everybody else.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Um,
I'm not backing them.
no,
I'm just saying, you know,
the odds and our opinions are not in their favour.
yeah.
So, looking at 18th, it's essentially the last remaining relegation spot. There's 7 points separating Southampton in 14th and Fulham in 18th. That's 5 teams.
Yeah.
7 points. It's quite tight.
Mm.
Who out of those 5 teams, so Southampton, Burnley, Brighton, Newcastle, and Fulham, do you see entering and staying in that relegation spot?
For me, it's got to be a tie between Brighton and potentially Newcastle.
I'm not sure if you've ever seen football, but there is no ties when it comes to
No,
the league.
as in, I don't know which one out of those two.
Brighton
I don't
or
see
Newcastle?
Burnley. I don't see Burnley going down. I don't see Southampton, even with the 7-1 defeat, 9-0. Sorry, it was 9-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was thinking. So they kept, for some reason, whenever Everton played Southampton, they mentioned the 7-1 game every single time. I don't know. They've been talking about it for about a week, and I don't know why I thought they lost 7-1, but it was 9-0. That's even worse, and a lot of injury problems.
2 red cards in that game. It's not, isn't it?
What is everyone? All the injuries? What is going on? Is it because of all the games? Do you reckon, or
No, I don't think it's all the games.
no?
If players who are less fit can survive 46 games in the leagues below, then
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I guess. I just
no real
just
excuse.
this season. Maybe it's the fans. That's the only
They need the
correlation I can see.
motivation to
Yeah,
be there.
yeah.
I think it's an interesting call you say Brighton. I think they've been one of the more defensively sound teams, as have Fulham, to be fair. Any particular reason why Brighton or Newcastle?
I mean, again, Newcastle, a lot of injuries. I mean, I feel like that would be really bad for Newcastle to go down. They have a lot of players like St. Maxime, John Wilson, who just wouldn't stay and play in the Championship.
No.
They'd have to get rid of them. A lot of their team, a lot of their star players that they've worked hard to put in place to make a team around.
Yeah, can't lose a gem like St. Maxime.
Yeah, exactly. He's class. Honestly, the first season when he was in the Prem, one of the funniest players to watch. You had no idea what he was going to do with the ball. You don't know if that was going rosette, rainbow flicking 4 players. You had no idea.
I don't think even he did.
No, it was one of the most entertaining things. He would score. You don't know what 4 celebrations he's going to do either. It was incredible.
Brighton, they've been, like I said, a bit more defensively sound than their other teams around them. They've also got quite a few goals, more than everyone else. If we look, they've scored 26, which is more than Burnley. But to be fair, Burnley are one of those teams who don't score a lot of goals. But I think, for me personally, I think Brighton have the underrated quality, I like to call it, where they have players who graft week in, week out.
Yeah.
They always get a decent result. I mean, they've beaten Spurs and Liverpool this season. So they always get a decent result. You mentioned Bissouma.
Very cool.
Quality player. I think if Brighton go down, you'll see.
And Lamptey, the right back, that's where he's injured as well, though.
Everybody's injured at the moment.
See, I didn't realise the gap between Southampton. Then 30 points. Yeah. That's. I mean, there's the 7-point gap. I could also see them struggling.
I mean, I remember at the start of the season when people were saying Southampton were going to finish in the top 5.
Yeah, well, they had a very good start.
Yeah,
a very good start. They were top of the league and quite a few games in.
Yeah. and then it's just been
Yeah, it's just been
nosediving towards the Championship.
yeah. So and if they can't turn it around, I feel like the game against Sheffield is a very big game. For the players.
Well, both teams.
Well, we're not really for Sheffield. Sheffield's just more pride.
Yeah,
I feel like they've gone down, but I think for Southampton, if they don't get at least a point here, then that could really demotivate the players even more than what they already are.
Yeah.
Which could be a serious issue.
I mean, still got quality Southampton.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just the form.
Vestergaard.
Yeah. Vestergaard. I mean, Ward-Prowse. I feel like a lot of their goals do come from set pieces. I'm pretty sure.
I think we could see Ward-Prowse leave at the end of the season.
It could do.
I can see him
I could
going
see him to Liverpool, to be honest.
I was going to say Everton.
Oh no, I don't need him.
Spurs.
Yeah. I think a team that would need a set piece taker, like Everton wouldn't need one. We've got like 4. But yeah, a team that would need like a set piece specialist. I could see them spending a lot of money on him. 50 million.
That should keep Southampton financially safe for a little bit
in the Championship.
Yep.
I don't see Fulham going down, which is
your main point.
My main point here is I don't see Fulham going down.
If I was to say who was going to go down, I would probably say Newcastle. I think Steve Bruce is an outdated manager. I think 15 years ago, him and his tactics were welcome in the lower end of the Premier League and the Championship. You know, he won promotions with Birmingham and Aston Villa. He didn't win promotion with Aston Villa,
no,
but he got close.
Yeah. He had a successful run in with those teams.
Yeah. You know, with Hull, he got to a FA Cup final.
Yeah.
They got smacked in the final, but we can gloss over that fact. I don't know. I think Newcastle is his last job.
Oh.
Because like I said, his tactics are outdated. You know, it's not route one like Sam Allardyce.
No.
It's not tiki taka like Pep Guardiola. It's somewhere in the middle, and that somewhere in the middle doesn't work.
You got to feel bad for Newcastle fans. They're thinking, you know, big oil money takeover. The graphics from Welcome to Newcastle Mbappe were made, and now they're in a relegation battle with all their best players injured.
I think it's gone down quite a bit for Newcastle since Benitez left.
Yeah, that was a big loss.
Yeah, and you know, I think Newcastle fans still hail him as the saviour.
Yeah,
that took them back to the Premier League and kept them up in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And now Steve Bruce, the local boy,
is slowly undoing all of his hard work.
I love the club. I love the club. You know, it's great. I love the club. Yeah, and he's bringing them down into the Championship. I can't see Newcastle staying up. They're too poor front. Like I said last week, they're too reliant on one player in Callum Wilson. He's not great, but he has scored a large proportion, almost half of their goals this season. So I can't see them staying up. Personally. Brighton, I can see staying up, but Newcastle.
Yeah, again, like I said, between one of those two, for me.
Yeah. This is towards the end of the podcast. Now we're going to make our score predictions as we get the fixtures up for the week. Burnley against Arsenal.
What? Are we skipping the midweek games?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Burnley against Arsenal. Arsenal winning 2-0.
2-0. I'm going to say 1-1 draw. Sheffield against Southampton.
1-0 set piece from Southampton. Either a corner or a free kick.
I was thinking exactly that. Aston Villa Wolves.
A 1-1.
I'm going to say 3-0 Villa.
I think Grealish is still out. I think if he was back, then Villa would have the upper hand. But if he's out, I would say 1-1.
On that point, actually, Wolves. Adama Traore. 25 games this season. He's not contributed to a single goal.
No.
Do you think he's still as good as people say he is?
No, I never. he was always a bit of a weird football player. He wasn't really. He's a bit of a
More of a rugby player.
yeah, or American football.
Yeah.
He actually got scouted for a couple of teams in America to play American football because of his build. But I always found it weird how he succeeded in the first place.
Mm.
He
came from the academy at Barcelona.
Yeah, but he always seemed a bit. He didn't seem very good on the ball, but still managed to get goals. But now teams are starting to. They've realised what it was about and closed it down a bit better now.
So much so that he has had zero impact.
Yeah, but
all right. Brighton Leicester.
Leicester, I see winning, even with the many injuries once again. Okay.
Gonna put a score on that one.
2-0 Leicester. 2 late goals.
I'm gonna say 4-1 Leicester.
4. Big boy.
West Brom Newcastle.
Newcastle. Oh, I don't know actually. 0-0 draw. I don't think either team will actually be able to score.
Yeah, I'd say a 0-0 draw as well. Liverpool versus Fulham.
Like a 3-0 Liverpool. But even with like the defence as bad as it is at the minute, I still think their attackers. I don't think Fulham will be able to maintain them for 90 minutes without conceding at least 2 goals.
That's a valid point. Man City, Man United, big game.
Again, Man United haven't scored against the big six in quite a long time now. Most recently, 0-0 with Chelsea, and they didn't really look like scoring. They didn't really have a good chance apart from the handball penalty they got overturned wrongly. I think I see City winning this one. 2-0. I don't think Man United will score again. I think their streak will continue, and I think Man City's streak of winning games will also continue.
I'm going to say 2-2 for that one.
Yeah.
Tottenham Crystal Palace.
I am impressed with some of the players that Crystal Palace have. But I think I do still see Spurs winning. I see them winning 2-0. That's I always go pretty much 2-0 with Spurs. Score a goal, sit back, and then when they push up too much towards the end of the game, get another goal to put the game to bed later on.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 to Spurs. Chelsea Everton.
I see Chelsea winning.
As much as it pains you to say.
Yeah. Maybe like a 1-0. I think it'll be kind of close, but I feel like Chelsea will dominate the game. But I feel like we'll hang on to like a 1-0 loss.
Well, I can see it going the other way. I'm going to say Everton 1-0. And finally, West Ham Leeds.
West Ham, I think, should win this quite easily. But Leeds do have a very good attack. They will struggle to contain Rafinha for the game. But if they do, if they lock him down, then I'd see them getting a 2-1 win maybe.
I could see a 1 or 2-0 win, I think, for West Ham.
Yeah.
Right, and that does it for... Well, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Ben for joining me for this episode.
Gladly.
He'll be here again soon.
I'll return at some point, probably.
So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. Join us next week where we have more games to talk about, more teams to discuss, more topics to debate. Yeah, we hope to see you again next week. The Spotify will be in the link below. And go subscribe to the other podcast that Ben appears on.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to...
Vibing and Surviving. A new episode will be coming soon. Our first episode was a hit, as I would like to say myself. But yeah, there's a new episode of that coming soon, so watch out for that as well.
And yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and I wish you a very pleasant evening and weekend.
Oh, yes! Oh, well, that's a wrap.
Yeah, it only took us 2 recordings.